Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you're enjoying these stories, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. It helps more than you know. Comment below where you're watching from and what you're doing right now. Folding laundry, driving? Let me know. Quick heads up. What you're about to hear isn't easy to explain. A man, a bar, and something that shouldn't have been possible. Stay until the end. You'll want to hear how this really ends. I count coins the way other men count regrets. 37 cents in nickels. A quarter with Lincoln's face worn smooth. 2 dimes that smell like copper and something sour. I arrange them in small towers on the bar top, watching them catch the amber light from the Budweiser sign hanging crooked above the register. The sign flickers, on, off, on, in a rhythm that's become the only heartbeat this place has left. Outside, the highway hums with the occasional truck. Inside, there's nothing but the groan of old wood settling and the low buzz of the neon. The air tastes stale, like beer left open for days and varnish that never quite dried. Beneath that, something mustier. Rot, maybe, or just time doing what it does to places nobody visits anymore. I wipe down the bar for the 4th time today. The rag comes back gray. This was my father's place. Before that, his father's. The Crossroads Tavern, though there's no crossroads here, just a 2-lane blacktop that leads nowhere anyone wants to go. The building's older than me by 30 years, and it looks it. Warped floorboards that creak in the same 3 spots. A jukebox in the corner that hasn't worked since 1987. Vinyl booths with duct tape holding the splits together. I used to love it here. When I was 8, I'd sit on a stool behind the bar and watch my dad work. He knew everyone's name, everyone's drink, everyone's trouble. He'd pour bourbon with one hand and listen with both ears, nodding in the right places, laughing when he should. This place was alive then. Music spilling from the jukebox, smoke curling toward the ceiling, voices layered thick like a quilt. Now it's a tomb. The last real customer I had was 11 days ago. Carl Dennison, who smelled like diesel and bought a single beer before leaving a $1 tip and never coming back. Before him, 3 weeks. A couple passing through, arguing in whispers, gone within 20 minutes. I don't blame them. There's nothing here to stay for. I checked the register. $43 and change. The distributor wants $200 by Friday, or they're cutting me off. The electric company sent a final notice last month. I've been running the place on fumes and stubbornness, telling myself things will turn around, that someone will wander in with deep pockets and a thirst that lasts. Nobody does. I lock the front door at 9, though there's no point. Pour myself 2 fingers of Jim Beam from the bottle I keep under the counter, the one that doesn't go on inventory, and sit in the same booth my parents used to share on slow nights. The vinyl's cold through my jeans. I sip slow, letting the burn settle in my chest, and stare at the empty stools lined up like soldiers waiting for orders. My mom used to say this place had a soul, that buildings remember the people who fill them, the laughter, the tears, the confessions whispered over whiskey at 2 in the morning. I used to believe her. Now I think maybe she was just trying to make me feel better about inheriting a sinking ship. The rain starts around 10. Not a drizzle, a downpour. The kind that hammers the roof and turns the parking lot into a shallow lake. I hear it before I see it, a roar building from nothing, and then it's everywhere, drowning out even the hum of the Budweiser sign. I stand and walk to the window, pressing my forehead against the cool glass. The highway's empty, just rain slicing through the beams of the street lamp across the road, turning everything silver and blurred. Lightning flashes, brief and white, illuminating the stretch of asphalt and the tree line beyond. Thunder follows, deep and rolling, shaking the floorboards under my boots. I should go upstairs. The apartment above the bar is small but dry, and there's a bed up there that's softer than this booth. But I don't move. Something about the storm holds me here, rooted, like I'm waiting for something I can't name. That's when I see the headlights. 2 pale beams cutting through the rain, growing brighter as they approach. A car moving slow, too slow for the weather. It pulls into the parking lot and stops near the door.
Airplane.
Engine idling, wipers working double time against the torrent. I wait for someone to get out. Nobody does. A full minute passes, then two. I'm about to turn away when the driver's door opens. A figure steps out. A woman, I think, though the rain makes it hard to tell. She doesn't run, doesn't hurry, just walks through the downpour like it's not even there, head down, hands in the pockets of a long coat that clings to her frame. She reaches the door and tries the handle. Locked. I hesitate, then cross the room and flip the deadbolt. The door swings open and she steps inside, water streaming off her coat and pooling on the floor. She doesn't look up right away, just stands there dripping, breathing steady, like she's collecting herself. When she finally lifts her head, I see her face. Dark eyes, not brown, dark, like deep water where the bottom's too far down to see. Pale skin, smooth, with fine lines at the corners of her eyes that suggest she's older than she looks. Her hair's black, slicked back by the rain, and her lips are pressed into a line that could be a smile or something closer to resignation. "Didn't think anyone would be open," she says. Her voice is quiet, almost swallowed by the rain still hammering outside. "I was about to close," I say, which is a lie. "I've got nowhere to be." She glances around the bar, taking it in with a look I can't read. Not judgment exactly, more like recognition. "Can I get a drink?" "Sure. What'll it be?" "Whiskey. Neat." I nod and move behind the bar, grabbing a glass and the bottle of Jack Daniels from the shelf. I pour 2 fingers and slide it across to her. She picks it up but doesn't drink, just holds it, staring into the amber liquid like it's a window to somewhere else. "You want to sit?" I ask, gesturing to the stools. She does. Takes the third one from the left, sets the glass down carefully, and shrugs out of her coat. Underneath, she's wearing a simple black shirt and jeans, both soaked through. She doesn't seem to notice or care. Hell of a storm, I say, because the silence feels too heavy. "Yeah," she says. Then after a pause, "You run this place alone?" "Just me." "Long time?" "Long enough." She nods, still not drinking. Her fingers trace the rim of the glass, slow, deliberate. Must get lonely. I don't answer right away. The truth sits in my throat, sour and familiar, but I swallow it down. "It's quiet," I say instead. "Not the same thing." "Isn't it?" I look at her then, really look, and something about the way she's watching me, calm, patient, like she's got all the time in the world, makes my skin prickle. "You passing through?" I ask. "Something like that." "Where you headed?" "Depends." "On what?" She finally takes a sip of the whiskey, just a small one, and sets the glass back down. "On whether people are ready to leave where they are." It's a strange thing to say, and I don't know how to respond, so I don't. I turn away and busy myself wiping down bottles that don't need wiping, anything to avoid those eyes. The rain's still pounding outside, relentless, and I can feel her gaze on my back like a weight. "What's your name?" she asks. "Elias." "Elias," she repeats, like she's tasting it. "You grew up here, didn't you? In this bar?" I freeze. "How'd you know that?" "Just a guess." She tilts her head slightly. "Places like this, they hold on to people. Or maybe people hold on to them. Hard to say which." I turn back to face her. "You talk like that to everyone you meet?" "Only when it matters." "And this matters?" She doesn't answer, just looks at me with those dark, unreadable eyes, and I feel something shift in the room. The air gets heavier. The neon sign flickers again, longer this time, and when it comes back on, the light seems dimmer. "You should drink that before it gets warm," I say, nodding to her glass. She glances down at it, then back at me. "I'm not really here for the whiskey, Elias." "Then what are you here for?" She stands, reaching into her pocket and pulling out a folded $20 bill. She sets it on the bar, smoothing it out with her palm, to tell you something you need to hear. And what's that? She leans forward, just slightly, and her voice drops to barely above a whisper. You don't have to stay here. You can come with me. The words hit me like cold water. I step back, shaking my head. I don't know you. No, she agrees. But that doesn't make it less true. I think you should go. She straightens, picking up her coat and draping it over her arm. She doesn't look offended or surprised, just sad maybe, or tired. I'll come back tomorrow night, she says. Same time, in case you change your mind. I won't. She walks to the door, pulls it open, and pauses on the threshold. Rain sprays in, soaking the floor again. She looks back at me over her shoulder. We'll see. Then she's gone, swallowed by the storm. I stand there for a long time, staring at the space she left behind. The 20s still on the bar, crisp and dry despite the water everywhere else. I pick it up, turn it over in my hands, and feel a chill crawl up my spine that has nothing to do with the weather. When I finally lock the door again and turn back to the bar, I notice the clock above the register. It stopped. The hands are frozen at 10:47, exactly where they were when she walked in. I tap the glass. Nothing. Check the battery. Check. It's fine. But the clock won't move, won't tick, won't do anything but sit there, stuck, marking a moment that feels like it should have passed but somehow hasn't. I pour myself another drink, this time 3 fingers, and down it in one swallow. Tomorrow, I tell myself. Tomorrow I'll get the clock fixed. Tomorrow things will make sense again. But even as I think it, I know I'm lying. The clock never moves again. I wake up the next morning with my head on the bar, neck stiff, mouth tasting like old pennies and regret. Gray light filters through the windows, weak and watery, and for a moment I can't remember why I didn't go upstairs. Then I see the glass next to my hand, empty except for a thin film at the bottom, and it comes back in pieces. The woman, the rain, the $20 bill. I sit up, groaning, and look at the clock. Still 10:47. I reach up and pull it off the wall, turn it over, pop the back open. The battery's seated correctly. The mechanism looks fine. I put in a fresh battery from the drawer anyway, snap the back closed, and hang it up again. 10:47. I stare at it for a full minute, waiting for the second hand to twitch. It doesn't. Piece of junk, I mutter, and leave it alone. The day unfolds like every other. I sweep the floor, restock bottles that haven't been touched, check the cooler, even though I know exactly what's in there. 3 cases of Coors, 2 of Bud Light, half a case of Miller, same as yesterday, same as the day before. Around noon, I make a sandwich in the kitchen upstairs. White bread, peanut butter, jelly that's starting to crystallize at the edges. I eat standing at the window, looking down at the parking lot. There's a puddle the size of a kiddie pool near the entrance, reflecting the clouds. No cars pass on the highway. No movement except the wind pushing trash across the asphalt. I should call someone. The distributor maybe, to beg for more time. Or the bank, to explain why this month's payment is going to be late again. But I don't. I just stand there, chewing slowly, watching nothing happen. By the time evening rolls around, I've convinced myself she won't come back. People say strange things when they're drunk or lost or both. Probably she sobered up, realized how bizarre that conversation was, and decided to stay far away from the weird bartender who keeps a dead tavern running on fumes. But at 10:30, I hear a car engine. I'm wiping down the bar, again, always, when the headlights sweep across the windows. My hands stop moving. I set the rag down and walk to the door, already knowing what I'll see. Same car, same slow approach, same unhurried walk through the drizzle that's replaced last night's downpour. She's wearing the same coat, same clothes underneath. Her hair's dry this time, hanging loose around her shoulders, black as tar. When I open the door, She steps inside without hesitation, like she knew I'd be waiting. "Evening," she says. "You came back." I said I would. I lock the door behind her, not sure why, and watch as she crosses to the bar, taking the same stool as before. Third, from the left. She doesn't ask for a drink this time, just sits, hands folded on the bar top, and looks at me with those impossibly dark eyes. "I'm not going anywhere with you," I say, more forcefully than I intended. "I know." "Then why are you here?" "Because you will," she says simply. "Eventually." I laugh, but it comes out hollow. "You're awfully confident." "Not confidence, just experience." I grab a glass and pour myself water from the tap, more to have something to do than because I'm thirsty. The pipes clang and hiss, and the water runs brown for a few seconds before clearing. I drink it anyway, tasting iron and chlorine. "What's your name?" I ask. She considers this for a moment, like she's deciding whether to answer. "You can call me Vera." "Vera," I repeat. "And what exactly do you do, Vera? Drive around offering strangers cryptic invitations?" "Sometimes." That's not an answer. It's the only one I have tonight. I set the glass down harder than necessary. "Look, I don't know what your deal is, but I'm not interested. I've got a business to run. Bills to pay." "Do you?" The question stops me cold. "Do I what?" "Have a business to run." She gestures around the empty bar. "When's the last time someone other than me walked through that door?" "Carl Dennison, 11 days ago." "And before that?" "3 weeks? A couple." "And before that?" I don't answer because I can't remember. The days have blurred together, one long stretch of sameness punctuated by nothing. "You're not running a business, Elias," she says gently. "You're haunting one." The words twist something in my gut. "Get out." "I will. Same time tomorrow?" "Don't bother." She stands, pulling her coat tighter around herself. "I'll see you then." And just like that, she's gone again, slipping out into the drizzle like smoke. I lock the door and lean against it, breathing hard, trying to shake the unease crawling up my spine. Something about the way she talks, the certainty in her voice, makes me feel like I'm missing a joke everyone else understands. I pour another drink, then another. The whiskey doesn't help.
Airplane.
At some point, I realize I'm hungry. I head upstairs to the kitchen, open the fridge, and stop. The carton of milk I bought last week, expired 3 days ago according to the date stamped on the side, smells fine. I sniff it twice to be sure. Nothing. I pour a glass and taste it. Fresh. Sweet. Like it just came from the store. I check the eggs, the bread, the deli meat wrapped in plastic. All of it should be questionable by now, but everything's perfect, pristine even. I close the fridge slowly, staring at the humming appliance like it might explain itself. Downstairs, the bar feels different when I return, colder maybe. Or quieter, though I didn't think it could get quieter than it already was. I walk behind the counter and check the bottles on the shelf. The Jack Daniels I poured from last night is still 3/4 full. Same level as yesterday. Same level as the day before, even though I've been drinking from it. I grab the bottle and hold it up to the light, tilting it back and forth. The liquid sloshes, amber and thick, exactly where it should be if I'd never touched it. But I did touch it. I poured 2 glasses last night and 3 fingers for myself. I watched the level drop. I set it down carefully, like it might shatter, and step back. The jukebox in the corner kicks on. No warning, no coins dropped, no buttons pressed. Just a sudden hum as the machine powers up, lights flickering to life inside the glass front. A record drops. I hear the mechanical thunk, and music starts playing. Slow, crackling, like it's coming from underwater. Patsy Cline. Crazy. My mom's favorite song. She used to sing along to it while wiping down tables at the end of the night, her voice soft and a little off-key. My dad would smile and pretend not to notice, and I'd sit on the stool behind the bar, half asleep, listening to her croon about being crazy for feeling lonely. The song plays through once, then starts again, and again. I cross the room and unplug the jukebox. The music doesn't stop. I yank the plug out harder, waving the cord like proof. But Patsy keeps singing, the same verse looping endlessly. I slam my fist against the side of the machine, rattling the glass, and the song skips once before continuing. "Stop," I say out loud, to no one, to the empty room. It doesn't stop. I back away, heart hammering, and the jukebox finally goes silent. Just cuts off mid-word, leaving the bar in a silence so complete it feels like pressure against my eardrums. I stand there, breathing hard, staring at the machine. It doesn't move, doesn't hum. Just sits there, dark and inert, like it never turned on at all. I need air. I unlock the front door and step outside, sucking in the damp night. The drizzle's stopped, leaving everything slick and shining under the weak glow of the street lamp. I walk to the edge of the parking lot, hands shaking, and look out at the highway. Nothing. No cars, no movement. Just the road stretching into darkness in both directions, endless and empty. I turn back to the bar and freeze. The lights are off inside, all of them. The Budweiser sign, the overheads, even the small lamp I left on behind the counter. The building's completely dark, like it's been abandoned for years. But I was just in there. The lights were on. I didn't turn them off. I walk back slowly, push the door open, and step inside. The lights flicker once, then come back on, bright and steady, illuminating the same bar I left 30 seconds ago. Everything's in place. The rag on the counter, the glass by the sink, the jukebox, unplugged, sitting silently in the corner. I close the door and lock it, hands still trembling. This time, I don't pour a drink. I just sit in the booth by the window and wait for morning, watching the empty stools and trying not to think about milk that doesn't spoil, whiskey that doesn't empty, and music that plays from nowhere. When Vera comes back the next night, I'm ready for her. "What's happening to me?" I ask, before she can even sit down. She looks at me for a long moment and something like sympathy crosses her face. "You're starting to see." "See what?" "That this isn't real, Elias, not anymore. The bar's real. I'm real." "Are you?" I grab my arm, pinching the skin hard enough to hurt. I feel real.
Airplane.
Feeling isn't the same as being. I want to argue, to shout, to throw her out and never let her back in. But instead, I ask the question that's been eating at me since the jukebox turned on by itself. Who are you? Someone who helps people leave. Leave what? Places they're not supposed to be anymore. The way she says it, calm, matter of fact, like she's explaining something obvious, makes my blood run cold. I'm supposed to be here. This is my bar, my family's bar. Was, she corrects gently. Was your bar. It still is. Look around, Elias. Really look. I do. The bar spreads out before me, familiar in every detail. The crooked Budweiser sign, the duct-taped booths, the warped floorboards, the stool where my dad used to sit and count receipts at the end of the night. But something's off. The details are right, but they're too right. Like a photograph instead of a place. Flat, static, unchanging. When's the last time you went outside during the day? Vera asks. This morning. I looked out the window. No. When's the last time you walked out that door in daylight and felt the sun? I open my mouth to answer and realize I can't. I see daylight through the windows, sure, but I haven't actually stepped outside since, when? Days ago? Weeks? The sun doesn't touch this place anymore, Vera says quietly, because this place doesn't exist anymore, not the way you think it does. You're insane. Am I? She stands and walks to the bathroom in the back. I hear the door open, the light click on. Then her voice, steady and clear. Come here, Elias. I don't want to. Every instinct tells me to stay where I am, to not follow, to not see whatever she wants me to see. But my legs move anyway, carrying me across the bar and through the narrow hallway to the bathroom. Vera stands beside the sink, one hand resting on the mirror above it. "Look," she says. I step closer, positioning myself in front of the glass. My reflection isn't there. I see the bathroom behind me, the chipped tiles, the flickering fluorescent, the rust stain in the sink. I see Vera standing to my left, watching me with those dark, patient eyes. But where I should be, there's nothing. Just empty space, a gap in the world shaped like a person. I reach up and touch my face. My fingers meet skin, solid and warm. But in the mirror, nothing moves. What? I can't finish the sentence. Vera steps closer, her reflection perfectly clear beside the void where mine should be. "You're not here, Elias. Not really. You haven't been for a while." "I don't understand." "You will." She turns and walks out, leaving me alone with the mirror and the absence staring back. I spend the rest of the night on the floor behind the bar, knees pulled to my chest, trying to remember. The memories come in flashes, jagged, incomplete. Rain, sheets of it, hammering my windshield, headlights in my mirrors, too bright, too close, the wheels slipping in my hands, a horn, long and blaring, followed by the shriek of metal on metal. Then nothing. I press my palms against my eyes until I see stars, trying to force the images away. But they keep coming, each time clearer, each time worse. By the time dawn breaks, or what passes for dawn in this place, I know. I've known for a while, really. Some part of me understood the moment the clock stopped moving, but understanding and accepting are different things, and I'm not ready. Not yet. When Vera walks in that night, I don't ask her to leave. I just pour 2 whiskeys and slide one across the bar. She picks it up, and this time she drinks. We don't talk at first. Vera sits on the 3rd stool, glass in hand, and I lean against the back counter with mine. The whiskey burns going down, and I focus on that. The heat, the bite, the way it settles in my stomach like a small fire. Physical sensations, proof of existence. Except it's not proof of anything, is it? "How long?" I finally ask. She doesn't pretend not to understand. 2 weeks, maybe 3. Time doesn't work the same way here. Here, I repeat. You mean in this, what, limbo? Purgatory? I don't use those words. They carry too much baggage. She swirls the whiskey in her glass, watching the amber liquid catch the light. "This is just a place you built for yourself. A place where you felt safe." I didn't build anything. Not consciously, but grief does strange things. So does fear. She looks up at me. "You loved this bar." It's all I had left of them. I know. The admission sits between us, heavy and raw. I drain my glass and set it down harder than I mean to. The sound echoes in the empty room, sharp and final. "Tell me what happened," I say. "All of it." Vera sets her glass aside and folds her hands on the bar. "You were driving home, late. You'd closed up for the night, later than usual because you'd been going through old receipts, trying to figure out how to keep the lights on another month. I remember that. Sitting in the booth with papers spread around me, adding numbers that never came out right no matter how many times I checked them. It was raining," she continues. "Hard. You were tired. You'd had a drink. Not enough to matter, but enough that you felt it. The roads were slick. The images come faster now. No longer fragments, but a sequence. The windshield wipers working overtime, my hands tight on the wheel, the radio playing something I didn't recognize, static bleeding through the music. There was a truck," Vera says quietly, "coming the other way. The driver had been on the road for 16 hours straight. He fell asleep at the wheel." I see it. The truck drifting into my lane, slow at first, then faster. The moment I realized it wasn't correcting. The moment I knew. "I swerved," I whisper. "You did. But the road was too wet. Your tires lost grip. You spun out. hit the guardrail, and she pauses, watching me. It was quick, Elias. You didn't suffer. But I'm here. Part of you is. The part that couldn't let go. I push off the counter and pace to the window, pressing my forehead against the cold glass. Outside, the parking lot stretches empty under the street lamp. No puddles from last night's rain. No tire tracks. Just smooth, unblemished asphalt that looks like it's never been touched. Why the bar? I ask without turning around. Because it's what you knew, what you loved. When people can't move forward, they retreat to the places that made them feel whole. For you, that was here. It's not whole. It's dying. So were you. Before the accident, I mean. Her voice is gentle, but unflinching. You were drowning in debt, in memories, in obligations you couldn't meet. This place was killing you slowly. The accident just made it faster. I turn to face her. If I'm dead, why do I feel this? Why does any of this matter? Because you're not fully gone. Not yet. You're caught between what was and what comes next. That's why I'm here. To take me where? Wherever you need to go. I don't decide that. You do. I laugh, bitter and sharp. That's not much of an answer. It's the only one there is. I want to argue, to demand specifics, guarantees, something concrete to hold on to. But I know she won't give them. Maybe she can't. Maybe the answer really is that simple and that terrifying all at once. I walk back to the bar and pour another whiskey. This time I don't drink it, just stare at it, watching the way the light moves through the glass. What happens if I stay? I ask. You fade, bit by bit. The bar will get darker, colder, emptier. Eventually, there won't be enough of you left to hold it together, and it'll collapse. And when it does, you'll collapse with it. And then? I don't know. I've never seen what comes after that, no one has. The thought sends ice through my veins. Not oblivion. Oblivion I could accept. But something worse. Something incomplete. A half-existence that stretches on forever, aware but unable to act, trapped in the ruins of a place that doesn't exist. Why didn't you just tell me this the first night? I ask. Would you have believed me? No, I wouldn't have. I barely believe it now, even with the evidence staring me in the face. The stopped clock, the missing reflection, the food that never spoils, and the whiskey that never empties. People need time, Vera says, to see, to understand, to accept. I can't force that. I can only wait until you're ready. And if I'm never ready, then I'll keep coming back.
Airplane.
Every night. Until you are. Why do you care? The question surprises her. I see it in the slight widening of her eyes, the pause before she answers. Because no one should be alone like this, not even the dead. Something in her voice, a crack maybe, or just the weight of experience, tells me she means it. That this isn't just a job or an obligation. That she's seen this before, too many times, and it still hurts. I sit down on the stool next to her, close enough that I can smell the rain she carried in, even though she's dry now. Who are you, really? I told you. Someone who helps. That's not an answer. She smiles, sad and small. I know. We sit in silence for a while. The bar settles around us, creaking and groaning like an old ship. I listen to the sounds I've heard 1,000 times. The hum of the cooler, the buzz of the Budweiser sign, the whisper of wind through the gaps in the window frame. Except they're not real. None of it is. My dad used to stand right there, I say, pointing to the spot behind the bar where the register sits. Every night, same position. He'd lean on the counter and talk to whoever was around. Just talk. About nothing, mostly. The weather, the game, whatever came to mind. He sounds like a good man. He was. Both of them were. I rub my face, exhausted. They spent their whole lives keeping this place running, and I couldn't even manage a year on my own. You managed longer than that. barely. By the end, I was just existing, going through the motions, waiting for something to change. And now it has. I look at her. This isn't the change I wanted. It never is. The jukebox kicks on again. No warning, just like before. But this time, I'm not afraid. Just tired. The music that plays isn't Patsy Cline. It's something older, scratchier. A big band tune I don't recognize but somehow feel in my bones. The kind of song my grandparents might have danced to when they were young and the world was different. They wouldn't want you to stay here, Vera says softly. Your parents. They'd want you to move on. You didn't know them. I know what love looks like. And love doesn't chain people to places. It sets them free. I close my eyes, and the memories flood in. Not of the accident this time, but of the good moments. My dad teaching me to pour a beer with the perfect head. My mom laughing at a joke I didn't understand. The smell of sawdust and lemon cleaner. The warmth of the fireplace in winter. The sound of voices layered thick on a Friday night. The bar was never about the building. It was about the people in it. And they're gone. I'm scared, I admit, barely above a whisper. I know. What if there's nothing? After this? What if there is? I open my eyes and look at her. She's not smiling, not offering false comfort, just meeting my gaze with steady, unwavering certainty. I can't promise you what comes next will be easy, she says, but I can promise it'll be real. More real than this. I stand, legs shaky, and walk to the center of the bar. I turn slowly, taking it all in one last time. The warped floorboards, the duct-taped booths, the crooked sign, the jukebox still playing its phantom song. It's not real. None of it is. But it was, once, and maybe that's enough. I turn back to Vera. What do I do? She stands and extends her hand. Let go. I stare at her palm, pale and steady in the dim light. It should be simple. Just take her hand and walk away. But my feet feel rooted, my chest tight with something I can't name. Loss, grief, fear, love. They built this place with their hands, I say, voice breaking. Stayed here through everything. Bad years, good years, all of it. How do I just leave? You're not leaving them, Elias. You're honoring them by living, or whatever comes next. I don't know how. Yes, you do. I think of my father's hands, rough and scarred from years of work. My mother's voice, singing off-key. The way they looked at each other across a crowded room, like they were the only two people in the world. They didn't stay because they were trapped. They stayed because they chose to. And now I have to choose differently. I reach out and take Vera's hand. Her skin is cool but not cold. Solid. Real. The moment our fingers touch, the bar changes. The lights dim, flickering like dying stars. The walls seem to breathe, expanding and contracting, and the floor beneath my feet softens, becoming less substantial with every second. Don't look back, Vera says. But I do. The bar is collapsing. Not violently, gently, like a sigh. The booths fold in on themselves. The bottles on the shelves turn to dust. The Budweiser sign flickers one last time, then goes dark. The jukebox stops mid-note, its music swallowed by silence. And standing behind the counter, barely visible in the fading light, are two figures. My mother and father. They're not clear, more like impressions, shapes made of memory and love. But I see them. My dad's hand rests on my mom's shoulder. She's smiling, not sad, not angry, just proud. My dad raises his other hand in a small wave. I wave back, tears streaming down my face. Then they're gone, dissolved into the air, and the bar goes with them, crumbling away until there's nothing left but darkness and Vera's hand in mine. It's okay, she says. Keep walking. I do. The darkness doesn't last. Light begins to seep in, soft and warm, like dawn breaking through fog. I can't see where it's coming from, but I feel it on my skin, real and undeniable. The cold that's been clinging to me since I can't remember when starts to fade, replaced by something I'd forgotten existed: warmth. Ahead, the light grows brighter, not blinding, inviting, like an open door at the end of a long hallway. Almost there, Vera says. What's on the other side? I don't know. It's different for everyone. Will you be there? No. This is as far as I go. I stop, turning to face her. Thank you. She squeezes my hand once, then lets go. Go on, Elias.
Airplane.
They're waiting. Who? She just smiles. I turn back to the light and walk toward it. With every step, the weight I've been carrying, the debt, the fear, the loneliness, falls away. I feel lighter, freer. By the time I reach the threshold, I'm almost floating. I look back one last time. Vera stands in the fading darkness, one hand raised in farewell. Then she turns and walks the other way, disappearing into shadows I can't see through. I face the light and step through. 3 weeks later, a state trooper drives past the Crossroads Tavern on his usual patrol. He's passed it 100 times, always meaning to stop in for a beer but never quite getting around to it. Tonight, something makes him slow down. The parking lot's empty, as usual, but the lights are on inside. Through the windows, he sees the glow of the Budweiser sign, warm and steady. He thinks he hears music too, faint but there, some old tune he doesn't recognize. He pulls in, shuts off his engine, and walks to the door. It's locked. He cups his hands against the glass and peers inside. The bar looks the same as always, stools lined up, bottles on the shelves, but there's no one behind the counter, no one in the booths. Just an empty glass on the bar, still wet, like someone finished a drink and walked away. The trooper tries the door again. Still locked. He's about to leave when he sees movement in the mirror behind the bar. Just for a second. A figure, tall and lean, raising a hand in a gesture that could be a wave or a goodbye. He blinks, and it's gone. Shaking his head, he walks back to his car. Probably just the light playing tricks. Too many double shifts lately. He makes a mental note to stop by during the day, check if the place is still operating, and drives off. Behind him, the lights in the Crossroads Tavern flicker once, then go dark and stay that way.